Hi everyone, I'm Jack from Click Energy. In video 7, I will be doing an introduction for you to customers that have solar. Let's get started, shall we? In this video, I will be doing an overview for a customer that has solar. Also, I'll be covering how to identify if the customer has solar, obviously navigating the quote tool and selecting solar, explaining what an eligible feed-in tariff is, and also breaking them down state by state. So let's get started. As always, the first thing to do when you are on your associate homepage is to click Become a Customer, which will take you through to the Viridian Click Energy microsite. At that point, we will click on Get a Quick Quote, which will take us through, and then we can enter the customer's postcode. Let's start off using Victoria, 3000 for customers that have solar in Victoria. Now obviously solar only affects electricity, so we don't need natural gas. We will do an electricity quote. Now, when a customer has solar, we must make sure that we select this button here, I have solar panels. That will then bring up these two new fields here. The first one is very easy. That is the average daily solar export of a customer. So when looking at a bill for a customer that has solar panels, you will be able to identify exactly how many kilowatts of electricity they fed back into the grid. Now let's say this bill was over 90 days and there was 900 kilowatts fed back in the grid. The first thing you might do is type 900 in here. However, as you can see, there has been a little red little red triangle come up with an exclamation mark in there saying something is wrong or likely wrong. You see here, it is the average daily solar export. So as I said, if it was 900 kilowatts over 90 days, that would be 10 kilowatts a day is the average daily solar export. So it's important to note that and to put that in. And of course, as always, we need to be making sure we're entering exact usage on a bill, whether it's solar or not, if we have access to a bill, that is, of course. Now here we see the next box which came up, the eligible feed-in tariff. So firstly, I'll explain what a feed-in tariff is and how it works with the solar system. So obviously, when a customer has a solar system on their roof, the solar is then generating electricity. Some of the electricity will be being fed into a customer's house. Other parts of the electricity will be being fed back into the grid, and the customer will be being paid per kilowatt they get fed back into the grid. Now, depending on when the customer had the solar system installed, they may be receiving extra money from the government per kilowatt that they are feeding back into the grid. Now, as always, you can talk to your customer and ask them about this. Many will know. Alternatively as well, you will be able to identify it on a customer's electricity bill. So let's talk through them now. There's three options here in Victoria. Now, the very first one, the one which comes up standardly on the quote tool, is the VIC new standard feed-in tariff. Now, the new standard feed-in tariff are for customers that have had their solar systems installed recently and are not getting anything from the government. The only money they're getting for the feed-in tariff is from the retailer. So that would be the amount that Click Energy is paying them. Now, I will show you a way of being able to identify this. If you scroll down here, where you can talk your customer through the different rates that will be and their usage, you can see here for the solar export, the amount exported is directly above the word exported, and then there is the rates. So the total rate here is 6 kilowatts. What that is 6 cents per kilowatt. What that is 6 cents from Click Energy, the feed-in tariff, and nothing, 0 cents from the government. Now, if we go up and change this, customers may have got in at a certain period of time where the government was offering them the VIC transitional feed-in tariff. Now this is 25 cents from the government that they would be receiving per kilowatt. We can scroll back down, suddenly it's 25 plus 6, and that equals 31 cents. And obviously it's a much higher solar feed-in tariff bonus they're receiving, and obviously then a much lower bill that they are receiving. And finally, those who got in at the right time early on would be receiving the premium feed-in tariff from the government, which is 60 cents per kilowatt, plus whatever they are receiving from the retailer. So as you can see here, it's a much bigger, again, credit they're receiving with a much smaller bill again. Now, customers might ask, what can I do to get myself onto the premium feed-in tariff or the transitional feed-in tariff? Unfortunately, the answer is nothing. There is nothing they can do to get on it. Those schemes have now closed and cannot be reopened. So a customer is on whatever scheme they are currently on, and that cannot change in the future. So that is for Victoria. Let's now do a quick overview of some of the other states. Let's look at New South Wales, 2000. So as always, we need to choose I have solar panels. There's the enter average daily usage as normal. Now let's talk through the eligible feed-in tariff for New South Wales. Similar, they have it broken down by dates. On New South Wales, it's actually specifically what date, which can help you to identify that with customers. Otherwise, you can do it based on the amount that's on the bill. So the solar bonus scheme that's most recent here from July 2012, that is nothing. So that would be 0 cents from the government and whatever portion Click Energy is paying them. Or they can be receiving some of these other closed schemes now if they got in there at the right time. So for example, if we look at these two dates right here in the middle, we can go down and see that it would be 14.9 cents from the government plus 6 cents from Click Energy. Sometimes in these cases, what you might find is on a customer's bill, there will not be an accurate breakdown. It will just have the total amount. So for example, you might be looking there and it might be 20 cents that is on the customer's bill per kilowatt for their solar feed-in tariff. At that point there, you would know it was 14.9 cents from the government, plus in that case it would be 5.1 cents from their current retailer. Of course, it could be something like 21 cents, which would be 6.1 cents from their current retailer. And that's a way that you can identify it through talking to your customer as to which solar scheme that they are on. And as always, if you're not certain, you can call through to Click Energy. We're more than happy to help you out and help you to identify which scheme the customer is on. Of course, if they got in at the right time, really early on, they would be on the highest feed-in tariff, which is 54.9 cents from the government, plus a 6 cents from Click Energy, which adds up to a total of 60.9 cents that they would be receiving for every kilowatt of electricity they feed back into the grid. Now, let us look at Queensland. This will be very common for associates who are based in Queensland because there are many people up there who have solar panels. Here, as always, we'd click I have solar panels. Now, Queensland is a lot easier. There is only 2 schemes. Now, the solar bonus scheme that was before the 10th of July 2012, that is worth 44 cents from the government. So 44 cents, plus in this case, the 7 cents that Click Energy is offering would be 51 cents that the customer is receiving from Click Energy. Most commonly in Queensland, from what I've found, it's 50 cents. So most retailers are giving 6 cents per kilowatt. So many customers will say to you, I'm receiving 50 cents per kilowatt for my solar feed-in tariff. You will know that is a breakdown of 44 cents from the government and 6 cents from their current retailer. Click Energy can do better than that. We can offer 7 cents, so they would be getting 51 cents total in Queensland. And of course, if they didn't get in on time, it would just be the 0 cents from the government with the 7 cents from Click Energy. Finally, South Australia. Now, solar panels in South Australia look a little bit more complex at first because there are actually 5 different groups available. However, groups 3, group 2 and group 1 all have exactly the same amount that they are receiving per kilowatt, and that is 44 cents. The difference between the 3 is other small details, such as when that actual government feed-in tariff will expire. Now, the other 2, group 4, for those who got in a little bit later, drop down slightly to 6 cents per kilowatt, or those who are only getting in recently, it would be 0 cents per kilowatt. So it's important when you are looking at a customer who has solar panels on the roof to be analysing all elements of the bill in order to do the most accurate quote possible.